Hi there, how you going? Greetings, people of Earth. It's me, Rabid. How are you? Okay. Here I am. This is what we're doing. Okay, I think I've got the kinks ironed out now. And everything should be working. So, yeah, I've managed to get the camera back up and running for the printer. So, yeah, let's try this again, because, yeah, I tried to do this stream about an hour ago. I had issues. I've updated my phone, restarted my computer, shut down as many background tasks as humanly possible. And things seem to be working. And there was a driver update too for GeForce RTX 2060 drivers. So, yeah, let's try this again. Anyway, so, yeah, in the last video I was talking about the stuff I was doing with my printer. Let's bring it back up. So, yeah, I replaced the hot end. I'm changing my filament setup again. Yeah, you can see on the left there, I replaced that original lead screw with one that's the same length, pitch and everything, basically the twin of that one. But I think they might have slight bends in them, so we'll have to see about that. Probably have to get some new lead screws. Now, also the wiring. You'll see I've cut and spliced. It's not the greatest. I haven't really done much cable management. You'll see it's just sort of zip tied together because, yeah, the original hot end that I was trying to do when I did my fail upgrade video the other night, the original hot end, I couldn't get that little lug screw thing out there, a little hex screw that holds the heat cartridge in. I broke out a file, tried filing it down so I could get a screwdriver in there. Nothing worked. So I went with the heat cartridge and the thermistor that were already on the new hot end. The problem there is that Ender 3 Max, bigger than an Ender 3, so most Ender 3s. So therefore, the wires on that new hot end were obviously for a smaller ender, so they're not long enough. So I've had to cut and splice using the original wires to make it reach. So, yeah. I didn't do exactly a crash hot job there. It's functional. I've got to do some cable management. I'll probably have to trim the wires a bit and get them a bit more even. But for the time being, it'll do. I've soldered the wires together so they're properly connected, as well as I've put went to Bunnings and I bought some fire or flame resistant electrical tape to wrap around the connections, and that'll do for now. I'll probably end up cutting them down and end up cutting them down and again, and putting plugs on them, so if in future I have to replace them, that's what I'm looking for. It'll be much easier to do because I'll just be able to connect them together. So yeah, I think, cross my fingers, because the gantry, everything has been re-leveled. I've completely pulled those lead screws out, put them back in. I've also raised the couplers because I think they might have been down a little bit too much, so risk of Z binding. E-steps are done. Don't know if I mentioned it, but I did the auto PID tuning for the hot end and the bed, so they're tweaked. I have levelled the bed as well. Most people, you hear about the paper trick, but I don't go using the paper. I've got a 0.1mm feeler gauge. Came as a cheap set of calipers that I've got on Amazon. But 0.1mm, and I use that. I'll center the nozzle on the bed, and it's got a Z probe wizard. So I'll get the Z probe wizard, or get the nozzle down onto the bed as close as possible. Put that underneath it until it's just sliding through. A little bit of resistance, but it slips nice and easily still. Then I turn off the stepper motors, and well, turn off the stepper motors once I've got it, the Z probe offset dialed in. And then I do the usual, move the nozzle to the four corners of the bed, and again, use a filler gauge. And I find that gets the bed so level compared to using a piece of paper or whatever, because that metal as well is just the right thickness. Yeah. And then obviously, yeah, when you do your prints, you dial in using baby steps and things for the offset. But using the Z Probe Wizard that comes with Marlin, if you enable that, that seems to do a pretty good job of getting the Z offset. So yeah, everything is dialed in, everything is tweaked, as good as it's going to get for now. So yeah, what I've done to this printer from stock is first dual Z kit, relocated the power supply, the enclosure, the CR touch probe, and that's the thing with the purple light on it there. It's used for auto leveling the bed and plotting out a mesh or a grid. Helps with the print head, making your print level. Gantry should be square to the frame as well as the bed, but most importantly to the bed. And yeah, dual gear extruder, and that's about it really, because it is a fairly good printer for what it is. But you got to give it a bit of love. Ender 3 Max Neo, the new versions of them, they don't have the dual cooling fans like the original Ender 3 for some reason. But they do come with basically the upgrades that you do to get Ender 3 going. I forget to mention too, the orange silicon mounts. I don't use springs, use the silicon. Had a problem with the bed, used to always come unlevel between prints. And with the springs, it was like the knobs were always undoing during the prints, between the prints. So constantly leveling it. But put these silicon mounts on it, and yeah, once it's level, don't have to touch it. Probably for months even. Yeah. But I've only had to recalibrate it now because the fact that, yeah, I've re-leveled everything. The new hot end I think is a little bit smaller than the other one, way different Z offset with the nozzle and all that. I've got the bimetal heat break in there too, and yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Cura now. We'll bring that up so I can show you what we're doing. Hopefully this doesn't affect anything. And yeah, we'll do a test print. XYZ calibration cube. I get a bit tired of doing them sometimes, but you got to do what we got to do. Let me see, where is it? Oh, again, there we go. There's Cura. Okay. File, open recent XYZ cube. There we go. Let's drop it, so this should be nice and level. 16% infill, quality settings. Yeah, I was going to do concentric, but I'm going to go with lines. The reason I do lines is when it zigzags across the top and bottom layers, I think that's the best one to see if your layers or your lines are squished together enough for dialing in your Z offset. I think this one's a good one. It's much easier to see if it's completely smooth or if there's big gaps or if they're raised. I've got a feeling though I shouldn't have any issues with any nozzle drag at all now. I haven't had that for a while anyway, but it's still, yeah. Sometimes I have to use that hop. I shouldn't have to do that. Oh, wait, I wanted to keep that 16. Infill density, temperature. I think that should already be set. Yeah, going with the build plate temperature 65. No, we'll go 60. What's the brand again? Yeah, I'm using Overture PLA. It's called Space Grey, sort of like graphite grey colour. Nozzle temperature 200, because I find that's about 195 to 200 is the best print temperature, but probably 200. Temp. Speed, because the whole point of me tweaking this thing and getting it going good is to get the print speed up. Print speed, there we go, up to 70. Might be a bit quick, so I'll set that 60. The stock is 50 millimeters a second, so I'll go 60. And we shall stream this, and oh, hang on. Have it set to brim at the moment, I think, for support, not support, for, what's it called again? Yeah, build plate adhesion. We'll go with the skirt. And if we slice that, preview, so that's going to take 28 minutes, 4 grams. And we'll live stream this. That's how it should look while it's printing. Right, let's save that to a removable disc. Alrighty. Right. Excuse me while I move between the printer and the computer. So if the audio sounds a bit weird, it's because I'm moving away from the microphone. Okay. So take this SD card, put it in the slot. I've already got the bed and nozzle temperature up. So we don't have to wait for preheat. Now what I'm going to do, because I've been working on it, I'm going to microfiber cloth and isopropyl alcohol. Make sure I get good adhesion. Alright, so the bed's clean now, and okay, so excuse me. Yeah, that model is loaded up. Yeah, the printer's moving. So like I said, it's preheated. So yeah, bed temperature is 60 degrees at the moment, and nozzle temperature is 200. Now it's going to go through auto bed leveling. So it's going to home first, then it's going to probe the entire bed. Probe's 5x5. So 25 points. And on the screen it'll show you its progress. And if the camera will pick that up. But that's how it is in the enclosure. Haven't got it zipped up. A couple of spools of filament there, and there's Comgrow filament dryer. Moved it over to that side so better access to the extruder. Let's get that good view of that in there. Probably can't hear it's the noise cancelling that I'm running, but this printer's pretty quiet. I think you can hear the motor or everything going zzz, zzz, when it's moving quickly up and down, but you don't really hear the gantry movements moving along the X and the Y axis, so you don't hear the bed plate, and it's a pretty quiet printer actually, because like when you're printing, the up and down movement's fairly slow. Alright, so now it's honed. I better get over there in case I've got to adjust the Z offset. I'll lay down, it'll spit some out first. There it goes. I will get onto this control here, go to tune, go to probe Z offset, 1.3 at the moment. And there we go. That looks like it's going down good. Oops, bit thin there, that's not good. Looks like it's recovering. But that's why you have brims and skirts. I don't know, I've got a feeling that might need to go down a little bit. The only problem with this one is it's hard to see under there to see how the layer's going down. On the first layer, this is on the smaller side of things. Looks like it's going down okay, but like, I think we could do with a little bit more squish. So I'm going to take it up to 1.305. It could just be because it's first layer. But this is why we do calibration prints. But the movement's pretty good, nice and smooth. Alright, filling in the second layer. Okay, I'm going to go with that offset for now because but yeah, those layers seem to be going down good. Yeah, that's looking fairly smooth. So how about that, eh? Probably tilt the camera a little bit. There we go. Think it's a bit more level. Alright. store these settings so it saves them for in future, and I shouldn't have to mess around with it now if this print goes well. Configuration. Settings. Beeps. So it's stored. Back to the info screen. With that, we'll be able to see time remaining, temperatures. Okay. I think the video quality is pretty good. I'm being streamed from phone over the Wi-Fi. I'm using software called Droid Cam, if you're interested. Yeah, two ways you can do it. There's a plug-in for OBS Studio, or the original OBS, or Streamlabs. But with Streamlabs, you have to install a client. This the DroidCam client, which connects, shows the stream, and then you can capture it. But yeah, that's 1080p over Wi-Fi. I think this looks better than my webcam does. Great. Yeah, let's see for comparison. Whoa. So yeah, this is how I've been spending my time. I've worked on my car recently. Got a helicoil kit from Amazon for about $40. Rethreaded all the intake manifold bolt holes on my Nissan Tita, and so happy. You know, intake manifolds on there, nice and secure now. The mechanic had stripped out the threads on it. Easy to do because they're an alloy. Everything's alloy on it. But yeah, put the helicoils in, and everything is solid as. Nice and tight, and the car is running great now because there's no obvious leaks or anything like that. Also replaced all the spark plugs too, which no doubt helps. Although yeah, there's still a lot of things to fix. So what the printer's doing now is what's called infill. So basically it zigzags a pattern on the inside, and it gives the model strength, so you can have thinner walls, but still have a fairly solid object. You don't have to fill it up with 100% infill, which would best make it a solid block of plastic. What this calibration is called an XY-Z cube. One of these. And this one I have done recently. Not this time around, but yeah, the pattern on that's a bit sort of weird because I did concentric, where instead of zigzagging back and forth, it draws around and round in circles until it fills everything in. Don't know if it picks up the bottom. You'll be able to see the difference on the bottom of that. There's the other one. I like this one because it's sort of got a bit of a shine to it, but it's graphite grey. But it appears more shiny on camera than it does in person. The shine or the metallicness of it's much more subdued. And so let's have a look at the print. Yeah, it's pretty amazing what you can do with these sort of things. I don't know if I showed that 3D print I did of my Ghost from StarMade. That was a pain in the arse. 20% passed. Elapsed 10 minutes. Remaining, it says 37 minutes, but as it goes on, that will go down. The estimate in Cura, I think, was 24, 28 minutes. I think it was 28 minutes. But it's like Windows when it installs. The counter will go down as it goes along, so time will get shorter and it will match up when it finishes. It'll be the original time, minus the time it takes to auto bed level, because that's not counted in print time. But that's only about, about 2 minutes. right, spaceship. Show another stream. Oh, there it is right here. Yeah, well, I'm hoping these upgrades will help me with things like this. My UNSC Paris class frigate from Halo that are built in StarMade. So it's actually like a Minecraft block thing, but when it's scaled down, it comes out really detailed. But that's like hundreds of thousands of cubes basically stuck together in cubes in different various shaped blocks, but basically like I built out a Lego in a game, StarMade. But those wings there, they got a bit wrecked because they're so thin. Because in the game I've built them, they're 1 block thick, which is a metre, and this ship's about 330 metres long, I think it is. So it's shrunk down to 30 centimetres there. You can sort of pick up where it says Ghost along there, but that doesn't stand out because that was like super thin, like less than a 1 block width. But it didn't turn out too bad. Underneath was a bit jank. I've got to learn how to do supports a bit better, and I'm hoping, yeah, the fixes that I've been doing to this thing will hopefully help, yeah, get the bottoms cleaner, because you can see, like there, supports difficult to remove. But I also printed it on one piece. I wanted to actually print this to the full size of the printer, which is 34 centimetres, so it'd probably be like about that much bigger. So all these details that didn't print so good will be a lot thicker too, because they'll be like, yeah, scaled up a bit. But it's an interesting thing. But to do this ship, exported it from StarMade, and it actually exports it as the model, so all the interior, everything is there. So I went into StarMade, I gutted out everything that I could, and even then, it then leaves like a shell where it's hollow on the inside and with a thick wall around it. Sort of like an Easter egg, you know, with that hollow space with a thick shell on the outside. So I actually had to go in and remove all the internal polygons to make it like a single face instead of having a model, because it's sort of like having a model inside a model. Even when it's down to 1 block width, and that took a lot of bloody time, erasing all these polygons. But yeah, it's interesting to think there's something that you can do in StarMade. That even exports the textures. So yeah, you could do some creative, like an interesting way to build 3D models. I mean, because yeah, you can see the detail. So if you built something massive and then scaled it down like this, you know, even cosplay pieces, you could say. Yeah, you'd lose a lot of the blockiness and it would all smooth down. But I've thought about doing that with the StarMade, start up a server, creative server, just sit there and do builds and shit, maybe, you know, hang out and chill on the weekend, make it public, people can come on during the week, roll back to a version that was fun. That's the thing, is working out a version that, 1, was fun, 2, you could use tools like Smedit, so that you could basically, you know, import models in and make symmetrical ships in them. I've got a tutorial, should look it up. Let's get back to printer cam. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Because a lot of people like StarMade. And a lot of people are sort of sad, like this. I know so many people who wish they could play it again, but have it go back to what it used to be. You know, they need like a StarMade classic. Before they started messing with like weird shield systems and the AI and stuff like that, where the AI just sort of trashed the game. You couldn't run it. There was a good attempt to try and add AI fleets and everything to the game, but it needed so much more work. And then apparently funds got misappropriated or something, as always seems to happen in early access titles, hey. The developer, Schema, I think it was saying that some dude that he'd hired as a manager somehow scammed him and gave himself like $100,000 a year salary or some shit, and that scheme of the dev had never met this guy in person before and let him manage all the finances and stuff of the company. And I don't know, it just sounds sus. And then basically last time I looked into it, all the dev team had basically all got day jobs. And that's when they started letting the community take it over. But I haven't really looked into it since the community. But yeah, there's just things like everybody loved the game until they started adding shit like exploding fucking heatsink things. When they changed the damage on the ship so that when, as soon as you flew near a sun, your big ship just started taking massive amounts of damage, where it used to be the opposite way. You could get in a big ship and cook smaller ships quicker. It was bizarre, plus the suns would just instantly destroy your turrets, blow them off like they'd been hit by homing missiles. But the thing is, yeah, a lot of people didn't want to do PvE, the PvP. They want to do PvE and just build, creative. It was a big thing with the game. What a lot of other games have failed to capture was it was a good community. You hung out, you chilled, you met, a lot of my friends that I've got on the Unbreakable Gamers server, people who've come and gone. I've had people that I've known for years, and we all met on StarMade. And it was just basically it. Like hanging out in a club, building model spaceships, sort of thing, showing them off to each other. And occasionally have a bit of fun and games, a bit of shenanigans. But yeah, a well-moderated server and doing events and things like Wookie and I used to do. It's a real good community. Like, the community wasn't toxic. There were a couple of toxic players out there that tried to get onto our servers and mess with them. There's a guy called Red Alert, but yeah, we got rid of him pretty quickly because we were on it with moderation. That's the secret to a good community server, is having good moderation. We weren't harsh on people, we were fair, we set clear, balanced rules so that everybody could have fun. We didn't like it, but we put block limits on ships because server performance, but the block limits we put, you could still build fairly big ships. You could build like 500 metre ships and everything easily. You can see how detailed my UNSC Ghost is. To see just how big you could get ships. You just wish they'd let us, added systems like individual assigning block limits to individual systems. Where last server I was running, it was like all systems are tied to a block count. So if you set $10,000 a 10,000 block limit on a system, it was all systems got a 10,000 block limit. Where we would have liked to have it where you could say, okay, mining lasers can be lag fest. They're hard to admin. We have a lot of problems with people where they're new to the server, they join, they don't read the rules, and they go insane with mining lasers and mining planets. Where it'd be good to go, okay, you only need 3,000 blocks for mining lasers. That's it, and then people just can't go past that limit. But you can then assign different values for cannons and missiles and thrusters and stuff like that, as well as allow you to a server admin to adjust those values, so that that's where it was at. Because for me, the concept was, you take a ship like this. Most of this ship, if it was a real ship, would be hollow. A lot of that would be empty space, walls, rooms, engines back here, but you need ways for crew and everything to get around them to service them and stuff. So you'd have, if you look at cross sections of ships or even real life battleships and stuff, or ocean liners, they're fairly hollow. Engines and stuff take up a small space. Sometimes they take up big space. With this, you've got a big cannon that runs down through the middle of it, but even then, that's like a barrel. It's pretty small still compared to that, so there'd be a lot of empty space here. You'd have crew quarters and shit, hangars, mess hall, engineering, bridges. Because that ship's got at least 2 decks on it, 2 bridges. Upper one up here, and another one there. Carries vehicles and stuff like that. And what we want to do was, yeah, our idea, and what I tried suggesting to them was, you reduce the block count limit so you need less blocks on ships. You know, admins to put a hard limit on that, but then you can assign different stats to the block. So where you need 10,000 blocks to get thrust, instead you need 1,000. But so then in that way it took out much less space, but you could have the same mass, for example, but you'd have more space. Just less blocks, more power to them to balance it out. And people would go, oh, but people will then spam this and that in there, and it's like, yeah, but it would work against you because now you'd have all that extra mass on your ship, so it would run slower, it would turn slower, and that's where bringing in block limits for certain systems comes into it. So you can say, okay, so somebody can't just build a huge missile ship that just spams swarms of heat seekers, which brings a server to a crawl, lags it out, those auto-firing heat seekers. Set it up so you can have a limit on how many heat seekers can go on a ship. I think that's why games like Empyrean work. Because Empyrean, everybody's got the same sort of rules where it's like, okay, you've got so many hard points for weapons and things like that. So it comes down to how you strategize, how you plan, how you build the ship that suits you, and then learn how to fly it. Because same as StarMade, you know, block limits on ships and things mean people got to put more thought and creativity into how they deal with situations like combat PvP. Because on our servers, even though mostly PvE, PvP was allowed as long as both parties agreed to it. So like dueling. And as long as you weren't griefing, you know, if you went out into open space, that, you know, it wasn't frowned upon to attack other players, but most people didn't do that because it was chill. And it was like, well, if you started attacking other players, there was consequences to that. You know, you dealt with factions like mine called Mine Wookiees and for a while Air Optimus's faction Exodus. We were on a few servers and we sort of dominated, but we sort of made ourselves like self-assigned police force of the galaxy. If people came on, started being bullies, being dicks, we swept in and showed them what being dicks could be all about. We showed them how to do it properly. We strategized, we organized. You know, you get people fuck with us, and it was like, yeah, you know, jump on the phone because we had each other's phone numbers and shit like that, or on Facebook and stuff, and be like, hey, you free? Got some dick trolling us at the base, and bam, all the guys would be there. But we would listen. We'd have different roles. I'd jump in, get up close to people, hit them up hard, try to take out their shields because I've tried to build Ghost to be a tank. Had a good array of weapons because I also tried to match the weapons to what the specs on the actual model are. Let's go back to the model because that's coming along. But yeah, I have nostalgia for StarMade, but it's so frustrating. But the thing is, the building system is like one of the best in any space game. It's so simple, but it can also be extremely complex. So I think they should have focused on what they already had and just polished it when it was at its peak. So I think if they should roll back the clock, undo a lot of things, and take on some of the advice that people offered and suggested. They turned it down and focused on PvP bullshit and stuff in a game that just wasn't optimised for it. What do we get? 83%. Elapsed time is now 25 minutes and 5 minutes remaining. So yeah, see what I mean about counting down. Before it was like 37 minutes, but it'll be like 30 minutes total, but 28 minutes for the actual print, because it's like 2 minutes of that was the bed levelling and the homing. But so far it's looking pretty good. Haven't messed with it, so we'll see. I don't care if there's a little bit of banding and stuff, you know, I just want it to print decently enough that I've got something that I can sand and fill in. It's not asking for much, is it? But so far it's looking good. I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's getting close to being finished because that 83% will jump pretty quickly when it gets to the final layers. And again, that's at 60 millimeters per second. Tests I've done on it, like temp towers and speed towers and stuff. This stock setup, especially because it's got the dual coolers, I could probably get this thing going at 150 millimeters per second, I reckon. Easily like double the speed, I think. So I could probably set it up to 100 safely without getting too many errors or issues. It's a pretty weighty machine. It doesn't vibrate much. It's pretty solid, especially after I shimmed up the bit on the left side. Yeah, put a shim on the, sorry, not left side, on the right side. Put the shim up there to square up that frame and got the dual Z kit, and yeah, man, it's pretty rigid. There ain't no wobble or movement in it at all. Of course, it vibrates, moves the table and stuff like that, but that can't be helped. Only way I could get it better is probably get a block of concrete, something hard and solid to stick in the bottom of that enclosure, because it's only sitting on a lot of material, but there's a wooden table underneath it, because it's almost impossible to remove all vibration. So yeah, if you end up watching this, thanks for watching. But yeah, this sort of thing that let me know. You know, if you want to see me doing my prints, you know, when I start putting the helmet on, do you want me to post a video of it? Live stream it, I mean. That thing will probably take like a day or a bit. I should say a day and a bit, but I think it's doing its top layers now. So what we're looking for is elephant footing, and this thing should be 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters on all sides. If I break out the calipers and measure it. And if it's 20 by 20 by 20 and there's no banding or ghosting, then everything is good. I probably need to tighten up the lead screws nuts a bit though, but I've got a bit of movement in them. That should help with the banding. And she's done. When it's finished, it presents itself. So, yeah, no glue or anything. Those glass beds, I think, are pretty awesome. As long as you clean them and you got them level, shit sticks to it like nothing else. But it also depends on the filament too, and your probe offset. Whole bunch of factors that come into it. So you can let that cool now and wait till it pops off on itself when everything contracts. But usually, as well as a good adhesion, stuff comes off pretty good too. So doesn't look too bad. I think the bottom layer might do with a bit more squish. But overall feels fairly smooth. Yeah, I might have to do some flow tests as well. But I think that's turned out pretty good. What do you think? Leave a comment below. Isn't that how it goes? So that's my Ender 3 Max, and it looks like everything's good. We'll do some cable management. Make it look neat. Get the cable chains back on maybe. But I definitely think I've got to cut those thermistor and heat cartridge wires. Okay, back to Rabid camp. There we go. See how it looks on that one. In the background, remove it. But yeah, the bottom definitely could have been a bit better. But it's not too bad, so maybe I just need to dial down probe offset a little bit more, get that tiny little bit more squish. Using 0.4mm nozzle. It's the one that came with that hot end. For the armour pieces, I'm contemplating going with a 0.6mm nozzle. But I haven't really messed around with different nozzle sizes. Definitely notice a change in quality. But while the bottom of this is a bit, just along there, I could easily fill that in. Along the bottom, it's just sort of like, yeah, just these along the edges here. The top turned out pretty good. I think if I used ironing, that would help. It makes the print go a bit longer, but what it does is the nozzle runs back over the top and bottom layers, and it just sort of like dribbles out a little bit of filament and literally irons over and makes it smooth, much smoother, and hopefully fills in little gaps. So yeah, serviceable. It's good. There's no obvious banding or anything. Get that zebra effect. I might have to see about that too. You get sort of like line patterns in. I don't know how fine the lines are meant to be on 0.4. I think they're fine layers. Anyway, like I said, calipers measure, because that's how we tell. Give it a little bit to cool down so it contracts. And so we've got 20, 20, and 20.1 or 20.2, or pretty much. Yeah, so I might be able to dial in the probe Z offset a little bit more. It's like, if I push it up there snug, that's pretty much 20. Anyway, I'm happy with that. It's working. I ain't gonna fuck with it no more. Except, yeah, that Capricorn tubing on the left, above, up on the left, the tubing, you'll see that grey sort of bent piece where the blue tubing goes in right up against the enclosure edge side. That goes out to that Congro filament dryer and spool holder, and I'm probably going to replace that because that's been trimmed back a bit, especially when I was making those other corners up the top, but now I'm feeding it back from the bottom. I'm going to have to redesign that bendy bit, change how the filament goes in, and I'll also be using this, that came with the hot end, but I'll hook this up to the filament holder because it's got a nut and a rubber thing, and it fits on perfectly to these size couplers. And that's longer, so that going in, it'll give me much more to work with. But it's finding a way to secure the Bowden tube in place without it moving. Because even when you use these couplers, when the filament's extruding in and out, they still can slide. I've taken off this, that's probably something. I have removed the runout sensor too, between the extruder and that grey knuckle bendy tube. Or filament guide, because that is a pain in the ass. Whenever I've had issues with filament, as the filament breaking on the other side, I'm usually aware of how much filament I'm got in it, and usually ensure that I have the correct amount in, or that'll be present if I need a filament changeover. So it's not really worthwhile for me at the moment to be bothering with. Plus, it's a pain in the ass getting filament through it, because it's like you've got to get it in at the right angle, or it clicks against the switch and just won't go through. You got to try twisting it and or cutting off at different angles. You know, you do it at a point, and it's almost like if you have it upside down, it works, but if you have it the right way up, it's just a nightmare. And it's just like, well, I'm just easier to feed the filament straight into the goddamn extruder. So that's another thing that that I've done. Oh yeah, I think I mentioned it in the last one, but yeah, the belt tensioners, they're new. That work, yeah, they work in pretty good actually. I've got to say, seem to have kept the belts tight and stayed in place. So yeah, got this one on the right there on the X gantry. This thing here. Knob on the end to tighten or loosen it off. Yeah, see how that split up? That was the skirt from the print. That should have been solid. That's a little strip bit that it does on the side. Going to bin under the table. Let me move this. Tripod at the moment, so that's the other one. And because I've been working on it, there's a lot of dirt and crap in there, so I need to vacuum it back out. For the next print, turn that off. But it seems to be working finally. I got it printing to my satisfaction. I think the upgrade's definitely worth it, and unfortunately in many cases necessary. Like, I probably didn't need the belt tensioners. It's Enclosure when it's closed up. It's like about $70. It's fire retardant. Just makes it safer. Say goodnight to the printer. Oh, hello, I am back. So, yeah, there you have it. Yeah, here's a print I did. It's a bit dusty. Before I upgraded it, Xbox controller holder. My controller's a bit dusty. So, yeah, goes in like that. Holds two controllers. Put it off Thingiverse, something like that. Yeah, controller needs a clean. But yeah, I don't know if it'll pick it up, but there's like some lines there that I don't think are part of the model. There, yeah, you can see them there. I was getting sort of weird issues and stuff like that, but hopefully, fingers crossed, looking at that test cube, I shouldn't have any problems now. And now I can get to work just focusing on fixing up the Master Chief suit. Start with the helmet. I should probably work on the boots too, because I got a set of work boots from when I was working at Australia Post, so they'll be good, I think, for the inside of it. Be good if I can do it in a way where they fit the actual shoe, so I can walk on the actual sole of them. But then again, I've got an idea for some rubber soles, make my own. That'll do the job. But we'll discuss that when I get to it. Should be thick enough and stuff. But yeah, that's my 3D printing test complete. Success. I'm going to say that that's yes. I'm pleased. Probably, yeah, I think I need to calibrate flow. But so far, so good. At least I don't think I've got to mess around with it for a while. Like, I don't even think I'm going to bother with the cable management. I think it'll do for what I need it to do now. Anyway, wish me luck. Thank you very much for watching if you made it this far. you want to see more videos like this, yeah, like and subscribe, hit that notification button. If there's an aspect or question you've got, especially about the Ender 3 Max, feel free to ask, because I've become sort of a bit more knowledgeable with these than most other printers. I've only used stock standard hot ends, but I'm sort of like aware of what's out there. I know that there's better hot ends and things, but I think this is going to do me. I think I'm going to spend more cash. I will probably just go buy a new printer. A lot of work going into this one to get it where it is, but I think still overall it worked out cheaper to get a big printer like this and upgrade it than at the time going and buying a bigger, more luxury model. You know, I had the cash. It was a bit under $500, but I would say $100 bucks. I'd say $600 you can get it to where this one is, which I guess for a good filament printer isn't that bad. I mean, considering it, you know, it's a 2-year-old machine as well. You know, for the same price as this cost me new. You should get an Ender 3 Max Neo, which is basically the latest version of it, and it's already got all the upgrades on it. It's got the dual Z lead screws, probably has a dual gear extruder. I don't know. It's got belt tensioners. You know, it's got the stuff that you would do. Plus, I think it's got the 4.2.7 motherboard, or a newer motherboard that apparently makes the printers even quieter, probably better functionality, input shaping, that sort of stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I guess if I want another Ender 3 Max, I love the hot ends on these ones. The hot ends on these ones can't be beat. I think it's the best hot end Ender 3 made with the dual fans. It's basically the fan shroud. Maybe the way that the new square ones on their Neo range are somehow better. But yeah, just like how these look. But yeah, if I get another one, I'd probably go with the Max 3 Neo, or 3 Max Neo, because I want to do big prints. I don't want to slice things up into tiny little pieces and things like that. I don't want to do little figurines. I want to do big stuff. Big stuff is big enough to fit me. Alright, well, we're going to end it there, because I think we've been going for an hour or so now, 57 minutes. Impromptu live stream. Thought, well, we're going to start doing the 3D printing stuff as content. Might as well bring you along for the ride with the machinery and how it works. Alright, I'm going to call it quits. Thank you very much for watching. And stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next video. Rabid out. Good night.